Hi, I'm Carla. Welcome to Home-Style&Botanicals. In today's video, we're going to be ending my first garden season, discussing the highlights as well as the lowlights. Or I guess you can say the highs and the woes. So to start on a high note, you see here my onions. They perform pretty well, pretty decent. I wish they would have gotten a little bit bigger. I noticed that they were pretty small, but overall I was happy with that. Those were tomatoes, oh my god, and those were the broccoli. I never got broccoli. I don't know what happened, who ate it up, what ate it up. Those were peppers. Something happened there. They really didn't get a lot of, they turned yellow. Not really got like a lot of yield from them, but I did have some yield. That was also a pepper plant. It yielded, could have been better. And this was also another orange pepper plant, and it looks like it desperately needs water. I think my biggest issue was remembering to water them, but by us getting so much rain, sometimes I got green beans that look like this and that, Tales from the Crypt, right? And I can't even remember for the life of me what these were or are. Wait a minute, what is that? I don't know what that was. It looks kind of creepy, but yeah, that's what I yielded. But like I was saying about the rainwater, we got so much rain this season until I just didn't know when it was appropriate to water the plants, because there was so much rainwater and I didn't know how to compensate the rainwater versus when to water the plants and actually feed the plants. I know for a fact I could have did way better. Look at that, just breaking right on off because it's, I don't know, but yeah, I feel like I should have fed the plants a lot more. I probably only fed them very early on plant food, and I did not use hardly any plant food after maybe the first month or so. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe I thought that they would just perform and do what they were supposed to do on their own without any kind of assistance or plant food. I think those were supposed to be some kind of greens. I really don't know. This particular plant, see that snail there? I got a lot of those guys on a lot of my plants, and that's lemon balm there. I thumped that guy off and took that baby into the house. Now this is my grapevine. It was starting to do well. I never yielded any grapes from it, but I used the gate as a makeshift trellis because I wanted to kind of think outside of the box. I didn't want to invest too much money more than what I had already began to invest, and it seemed to get infested with ants. I don't know what happened there. These were blueberries, I believe. I never got blueberries. Don't know what happened to it. Those were supposed to be flowers. More flowers. Poor guys, nothing there. And also I was supposed to get some kale, and these were the only thing that really brought me joy. My little bumblebees, they lit up at night. There was the kale. I was supposed to get more flowers, didn't get anything. I think those pots were too small. I even tried my hand at composting. How gross. I forgot about this little bag there with all kinds of perishable, not really perishables, but it was some produce that perished, obviously, and I wanted to keep it for compost, and it was yucky, and I forgot it was out there in the yard. So yeah, that's what my garden was looking like. I'm gonna keep those guys there, bring them in the house and wash them off. But all in all, I was super proud of how my onions performed as well as my potatoes. I did yield potatoes, or harvest my potatoes rather, recently, and I thought they could have been a little bit bigger, but they weren't, so I wasn't too upset or mad about it. I think next year I'm going to try again with the onions as well as the potatoes. I really enjoyed growing those. They didn't need a lot of assistance, and they seem to have like their own way of sustaining like different kinds of elements, I think, if you will. So especially like either really dry or really wet from the rainy the rainy parts of the season. So yeah, I was super happy with my onions. I did make some onions and potatoes, and they were super sweet and delicious. So yeah, I know I'll be doing onions again as well as potatoes. All in all, I really enjoyed this first gardening season. It definitely has been a learning curve for me, something that was definitely outside of the box. But I do plan on continuing on and starting a fall garden. If you haven't had a chance to see my seed starting video, please check that video out where I started seeds in my hydroponic grow system. I do plan on purchasing more starter plants, and I also recently went to a local farmers market, and they had like I think it might be a gardening group that I could join. So I definitely am super excited about joining like a garden club to help me with the things that I don't know and help me learn and grow with my garden. I yeah, that's what I'm super excited about. I don't know what really else to say about that. It's just, making friends who actually can be like garden buddies for me. I do have a couple garden buddies here on YouTube, so shout out to them for supporting me on my first gardening journey. I do appreciate you all for watching and coming by and supporting. I really don't think that I had too many problems with different like insects or things that would harm my garden. I really believe it was just me not watering or feeding my garden like I should. At the very end, I did get a lot of snails, as you can see here, and then I think that might be like a little cricket jumping around, but I did get a lot of snails. And then I noticed a lot of my leaves did have like little small tiny pinholes in them. I don't know what that was from. And also this gal here, my little Tankersley, that's our puppy Tankersley, she also helped herself to some things in the garden. But overall she did really well. She didn't do too bad once we kind of trained her to stay away from the garden. Because the onions are definitely toxic to your dogs, and pets in general, so please be mindful of that. If you didn't know it, I had to kind of learn the hard way. But yeah, so I wouldn't say that I had like any major infestations. I just believe it was not giving them the proper nourishments that they needed, the different plants, and incorporating more plant food into watering the plants. I don't know if I made mention, but I did water my plants with egg water. I saw my grandmother and my mother doing that when I was younger, and I believe that that was what was helpful with some of my plants early on. But then I kind of got away from that because I didn't know if it was working or not. But I heard that egg water kind of feeds the soil, helps with enrichment of the soil, with calcium within the soil. I'm not 100% in the know about that. It was just more or less like an experiment for me, trial and error, because that's what I saw. Like I said, my grandmother and my mother do when I was younger, so I figured I would try my hand at it. Gardening is not something that's, comes naturally to me. As you can see here, this whole situation right here, like, just doesn't even want to come up. I don't even know what this actually was. Look at those roots, they're pretty dry. What was that? I'm not even sure, but at this point I'm just kind of cleaning them out so I can prepare my soil. I will say that I don't think that I had a lot of luck with these three pot stackable planter pots. I think that's what you call them. I think, look at that. I think my roots were just, suffocated, and those pots were just small. I don't even know if that's a real plant. I don't know what that is. But I did notice that the soil in these tripods at the very bottom, the roots were just smothered. And I don't know if I should use these in my upcoming gardening season, but I don't think that I will. And I have about like 6 of these pots, these stackable planters, but overall to me I just didn't have a lot of success with them. So probably, like I said, in the fall I may not use them. I did pick up pots from Kroger. They had pots that were free in the gardening section, so I picked up those pots. They're pretty big. I do have enough pots. I feel like I got pots also from like a local yard sale, so I have enough pots. These came from the Dollar Tree, and I just don't know if I really like those. And you can see there what I mean by those roots just really being stuffed down in there. I got a lot of roots, I guess, and I don't know if if I was caring for them properly, but I think you can see right there where I have a lot of pots, and I am not like in need of pots, so I think my next garden season I'll be okay with the pots that I do have, but I'm going to just be more sparingly with the seeds that I plant in the pots. I think I may have even overstuffed my pots with seeds, if that's a thing, by using just too many seeds at one time with one pot. Like, just went overboard. But here are the star of the show for this video, my onions. I was really super proud of them, and yeah, I really appreciate the onions for being kind to me during this gardening season, because they really kept me encouraged. I think you need some things to kind of sprout out to keep you going when you're on the journey as a new gardener. So yeah, I also appreciate you for encouraging me as well. This is Carla, Home-Style&Botanicals. Thank you so much for watching. Please join my fall gardening journey. I will see you in my next video. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye.